it's finally time to tell the whole story of how I got shot when I was 15. So, just a disclaimer before we start, this is kind of a hard story for me to tell, as you could imagine, so just forgive me if I kind of skip around or forget parts and then go back to it. I just had like a lot of adrenaline at the time, and then parts of it I was unconscious, obviously, so it's a little bit difficult to tell. And then also this might require a few parts because it's a very long story. I'm going to start from the day before, the day of, and then go all the way through afterwards. So with that being said, here we go. So the story takes place on the last day of my 9th grade year in high school. So that day I had taken like a few finals, and my last final of the day was an algebra final. And I remember I got like a 67 or something on it, and I had went to volleyball practice and I saw my grade and I was like, what is this? Because I was an overachiever and I was not going to have a B in my class. So I was super upset about that. I ended up leaving school early because you just kind of do that when it's your last day. And so it was like my first day of summer, and when I got home, my dad and my stepmom and sorry, my stepsister, we all drove to like a town like an hour away because my dad was getting a new computer. And so me, my stepmom, and my little sister, we went to like a museum while he went and got his computer. And so we didn't get back until like kind of late that night. We got home at probably like 9 something, maybe 10. And my dad was gonna like pay me to set up his computer. And so what happened was, sorry, I gotta breathe for a second. So he gave me the computer to like set up, and I was in bed, and I didn't like to sleep with pants on. That might be TMI, but it kind of matters for this story. So I just had like a t-shirt on, and then so my dad and my stepmom, keep in mind, see, this is the jumping around that I was talking about. Keep in mind, my little sister had been dropped off with her dad, so like we met him halfway back to like our town, and she got dropped off with her dad. So it was just my dad and my stepmom. They went to Walmart, and it was, you know, like 10:30 or something, and I was setting up the computer. And so when they left the garage door open, and honestly, it wasn't uncommon for us to like leave the garage door open and the doors unlocked and stuff, because you just never feel like that stuff is gonna happen to you. But anyways, so my dog, which she's like a little, maybe like 10-pound dog, we had her for like many years. So when she started like barking, but like I had never heard her bark like this before, like she was like going insane, I was like, that's weird. But also maybe like something just freaked her out and like they came back to get something, or I don't know. And so my dog was like freaking out. And so okay, I get up. I gotta breathe. So I get up out of bed, and at the time I did not have a dresser yet, I want to say. And so I had like these plastic bins on the other side of my bed, and so I was laying on this side. I got up out of bed and I went around and I set my phone down on my bed, and I went to the plastic bin to get some shorts to put on to go out and like see what she was barking at. Well, before I could do any of that, I got around the bed, put my shorts on, and then I turn around and there is a man standing in my doorway. He has a ski mask on that was black, and it had like a skull on it, and he's literally pointing a gun straight at me. And I just remember being like, this kind of sounds like stupid, but I remember being like, is that my dad like pranking me or something? Because you just don't, it just doesn't feel real until it is real. And so I was just like, this can't be real right now. And so finally he talked, and he was like, I don't remember what he said about my phone, but he said something about my phone. Maybe I had it in my hand at this point, and he was like, put it down on the bed. And then he told me to sit down and put my hands up. And so, obviously I did. He came and took my phone. I sat down like this on the floor, and I had already told myself to like memorize what he was wearing because I knew I was going to have to like describe him later. And so he left out of the room. I was sitting there like this, and that's when I kind of processed the whole thing. Like, okay, this is really happening right now. Like, what do I do? And so I remember just sitting there and being like, what now? And so I heard we had like a little sliding back door, and I heard him go out there and like out in our backyard from the sliding back door and like shut it. And so I was like, okay, I guess he went outside. And so I did sit there for a while because, you know, I'm not just gonna go like chase after him. But finally, I'm like, okay, like 5 minutes have passed. What am I supposed to do? And so I get up, and my main initiative at this time is to like, my main initiative at this time is to like go find something to call 911 or contact somebody or something. So I'm looking for like, I know we don't have a home phone, but I'm looking for like an extra phone or like a computer, which like I said, I had just set up my dad's new computer, so I knew he had that. Well, then when I was going back out into the living room, he came back in and we met again, like in my living room. And this is a point where I'm just kind of like, okay, what do you want? You can have whatever you want. I'll tell you where stuff is. You can, you know, whatever. And he's like, he's just like acting really, really weird. Like asking me weird questions. He was like, he seemed nervous, and obviously I knew that he was on some kind of drugs at this point because he was kind of like acting a little psycho. And so I remember kind of being like, okay, I don't think this guy is, and this sounds really bad, but I was like, I don't think this guy is like for real at this point. Like he can't, I don't think he would really do anything to me, if that makes sense. And well, I was wrong. Anyways, so okay, I hate to do this to y'all, but it is getting dark, so we're gonna pick the rest of the story up at part 2. This is part 2 of how I got shot when I was 15. So I think I failed to mention in the last one, but this is eventually gonna lead me into my testimony. That'll probably be like part 3 or 4, depending on how long this takes. Also, I'm sorry it took me so long. I had class and work back to back yesterday, so I had no time. And then also, sorry for my voice, it's 7 a.m. right now. But anyways, so where we left off in the last part was, I think we were face to face in the living room, and he was like acting really weird and kind of acting scared. And this is when I told him, like, I'm 15, please don't do anything to me. You can have whatever you want in the house. And honestly, this is where it kind of gets blurry after this, because I know he was there for longer than that, but I'm not sure if I just kind of like panicked and was just standing or walking around, or like, I don't know what I was doing. But there's kind of a brief period of time where he was just there, like, I don't know. And so after all that, nothing really significant happened during that time. But then I decided to go get on the computer that was in the kitchen. And keep in mind, I know there are so many things I could have done differently that probably would have prevented it in the long run. But let me just say, nobody has any idea what they would do in this situation until they're in it. And also, adrenaline will literally take over your body. Like, you have no clue what you would do. So, with that being said, there's that. And then also, I just feel like everything that happened was God's plan. It was the way God wanted it to work out for me. And I don't regret anything that I did. So, let that be known before I continue. So, I'm on the computer in the kitchen. The way the kitchen is laid out is there is a bar right here. I'm on this side of it. There's the sliding back door on this side of it. So, literally right beside each other. And then around here, kind of where I can still see, is a hallway into the garage door. And so, he's outside at this point, and he has been outside for a long time. like probably at least 20 minutes. And I remember before this occasion, he was kind of on the phone or something. I think he was like calling people and I could hear him talking outside. This time I had not heard him in a while and I like honestly thought he was gone. Why didn't I lock the doors? I don't know. Didn't occur to me, okay? So I have the computer in front of me and I'm on this side of the bar and there's the back door. I'm on the computer, like I'm just now opening it, and he comes in the sliding back door. And honestly, before I could register anything, he just shoots me one time. This one hit me right here in the collarbone. And so what I did was, honestly, it's kind of like movies where you don't really register that that just happened until you have like concrete proof. So I heard the noise. It was kind of like delayed. And then I was like, did I just hear a gunshot? Like it had to all very slowly register in my brain. So I heard the noise and then finally I touched my collarbone because I guess I felt the pain finally. I touch it and I see I don't know if I should say that word on TikTok, but you know what was on it. I looked at my hand and I think that I passed out one time. So when I got back up, I was on the floor and I remember just completely realizing that that had just happened and I just screamed. Like 3 good times I screamed so loud. It was like probably the worst scream you would ever hear. And after that, there was a while between like the next events occurring, and so I would keep, this is not funny but it kind of is, I would keep getting up off the floor and like trying to get on the computer that was on the table and then passing back out. And I think I did that at least 3 times. Like, why didn't I put the computer on the floor? I don't know, but I kept getting up and passing out, getting up, passing out. And so finally I'm on the floor and he comes around to the other door. And like I said, the kitchen, both doors are like accessible to the kitchen. And so I'm sitting there and I turn around and I see him and he's down the hallway at the garage door now. And this is when I'm like pleading, like, please don't do it again, like, please. And he says, I'm gonna unalive you, and he does it 2 more times. And so these 2 times, one hit me here in the mouth, and then, or through like my mouth, and then one grazed my cheek. And so the one that hit my mouth, that one hit like 3 teeth over here, and obviously now I have like teeth there, but like all these teeth were gone, and that's what like prevented the bullet from just going straight through my face. So after that, I think that he kind of thought like, okay, I did it, like that's all it's gonna take. Keep in mind the bullets were keep in mind the bullets were really, really small. And so with these, I don't know if anybody's familiar with like a 22, but that's what it was. With these bullets, the only thing about them that's so bad is that they will shatter and just scatter everywhere throughout the body. And that's like kind of dangerous because if it hits anything big, it's gonna do damage. And so I still have, to this day, I have bullet fragments in my neck and my face and my all down here, like in my back. So anyways, I'm off topic, but after that is when I kind of just lost like my strength. I couldn't talk, obviously. My face felt crazy, like I really couldn't even register what just happened. And so I finally get the computer down onto the floor. And I actually did end up, like, I literally logged into Instagram because this wasn't an Apple computer, it was like some different computer, so I couldn't just like text somebody on it. I literally logged into Instagram and DM'd my boyfriend at the time and told him to call 911. And thinking back on that, that is literally like bone chilling because I sat there and I said, I don't remember exactly what I typed, but I was like, there's someone in my house, he has a gun. Ah, I forgot not to say that word, sorry. Um, and call 911. And I remember I had touched myself and there was BLOD on the computer. I don't know what words I can say on TikTok. And it was just disturbing, honestly. But after all that, I kind of just laid there and I waited a while for someone to come home and find me. And I'm gonna stop there. I'm already at 7 minutes, so I'll pick it up at part 3. But